Hi, Facebook. Good morning to everybody on the west coast of the world, I guess, if we're going to call you that. Today is our last day in Lebanon. We went to the Tahati organization again today and saw them. As you may have seen from my post yesterday, I had food poisoning, so was a little weak and took a little bit to get up and out today, but there was no way I was going to miss it. It was once again very hard to say goodbye to our new friends. We spent 3 days with a number of different people at the neighborhood, and as you may have mentioned, I may have mentioned in the first video, there have been things that we have seen and experienced that are just beyond everything. A lot of hope within the women of them finally, getting employment. They're making their own things. You can really feel this love and community with these women. When I said goodbye to them today, they were making sure that we'd stay in touch. It was incredible to sort of try to explain to them about my family. They were asking questions, and to explain that my mum and dad are equal, and that in a way my mum's kind of more in charge. To talk about the love and openness and hey Avi, the amount of equanimity in Australia in relationships was just sort of foreign to them. So we had this very beautiful, fun, loving day today. One of the women, Abir, made me a dress. I don't know the exact term, but she made me a traditional dress. It's pretty fantastic. So they got that for me today. But there's been a couple of moments within this. Yes, Avi, I'm seriously in Lebanon. And I've been at a refugee camp the last 3 days and spent so much time with them, getting to really see the level of, we spent quite a bit of time with a family yesterday that they don't have any money to pay their rent for their one room. You couldn't call it a room, but they don't know what they're going to do because the dad can't work because he's had to have operations. And it was pretty tough to see how somber the boys were. But there was one experience yesterday that is the kind of life-changing experience that no amount of words in a Facebook Live video are going to do it justice, but I feel it's important to share it in its own way, and maybe one day I'll post a photo. I'm not sure. I don't want to be exploitative at all, so if there's a way to post a photo without doing that, I will. We got invited to meet a family yesterday, and we went into their house, and I'd been warned that what I was going to see would be troubling. It was indeed troubling to us all, but I had a funny reaction to it that was different. The boys sort of sat back and watched from afar. When we came in, this beautifully resilient mother and was sitting with her son. Her son has a genetic disorder that when the sunlight gets on him, his skin eats itself, essentially, and corrodes away. So because they had to walk and travel from Aleppo down to Lebanon, he had to spend hours and hours and hours in the sun. So what was once an issue that he could abate by being inside is no longer something that he can escape. And he didn't. I've never seen anyone look like that. I guess is the best way to say it. It was very different. And open sores and eyes and all sorts of things that were must just be so troubling for him. He does have deformities in his arms and legs as well, and when I sat down, all I could think was get as close to him as you can. So I went and sat with him right next to him and put my hand on his leg. And we started sort of having this 30-40 minute moment of incredible connection. The boys were interviewing the mother and talking about how they've lost their, she lost her husband, she lost her 2 sons other than him. Talked about all these things, but I truly didn't hear any of it. I was just talking to him and singing and whispering to him, and we were having these moments. He doesn't speak English, and his words are not words that are audible. But at times I would say things in English like, we're going to be friends forever now, and, I'll miss you, you're going to miss me, and he would hug me. Like at the exact moment I would ask a question in English that made sense for a hug, he would do it. And there was this conversation that was going on for 30 minutes, at least, with this young man who I'm sure nobody goes in here, because it is hard to look at and it is hard to see that person. But I got to feel that person yesterday, and I got to a point where at the end of the time, it just, like, I was overwhelmed with this incredible beauty in him. He was sort of giggling and laughing by the end of it, and I know that is a feeling and a deep connection that will never leave me. It was very, very profound. And when I got up, his mother was hugging me, and we were talking, and she said to me and Catherine, the woman that runs Tahati, she said in Arabic, "You too have entered my heart, and you will always be in my heart." To have this woman who's completely covered, who seemed unsure about me, to give me that trust just from a 30-minute moment, I feel very honored. I think that's the difference about this trip. India was very fun, very troubling at times and confronting at times, but there was this joy with the kids that was just delicious. This trip has really been about trust and dignity and earning that, and proving to these women in particular that have been through things that you and I don't even know exist in the world. Like, I've heard stories in the last few days that I did not believe could happen. And to be able to have them trust us and trust me and trust Ian and trust Wissam with these stories, and to want to see us again every day, and to the kids to chase us around to come back and visit. I feel very honored, and I feel very heavy in many ways, because it's not something that has an answer. Like, this is, when we ask them, what are you going to do? Will you go back to Syria? Will you stay? And they all say, of course, we'll go back. And it's this thing of, we know that their world doesn't look the same anymore. But I guess the one really incredible thing is these women came here having never worked. They came here being completely subservient to their husbands. And because of the programs here at the neighborhood with Tahati, these women are the ones earning money. They're the ones, they're sewing, and I bought a whole lot of things. My family are all getting aprons and all sorts of things from these women, because the money goes directly to them. So these women who once completely relied on their husband now can earn money for themselves. And we know that whether they go back to Syria or whether they stay here, that relationship will never be the same again. And I think that's my shining light in this, is these women are clearly empowered now, and the way that they're bringing up their children and the way that they're going to have their kids be. And I saw it, Sabha and her kids, the boys can fix cars and motorbikes, which is not good that they have to do that for a living already. But little Rama, who told me that she loved me when I met her, she's so positive and so upbeat and so loving that you can see that these kids will also grow up differently, and they will also bring in a different generation that have seen things that are horrific, but also have built this resilience and dignity that will change the way that they live the rest of their life. So, super heavy Facebook Live, but there's no other option, I think, on this trip. There's a very heavy sort of feel about us all at the moment. We don't really talk much, Ian and I. At the moment, it's kind of like, you good? You good? Yeah, I'm good. So we're doing a lot of that kind of stuff right now. Not many words, because there just aren't words for this. I look forward to showing you guys the movie when we're done, because there won't be many photos posted of this trip, this part of it. I think I'll post some coming up, but there's just some things you don't share. Not in pictures anyway. So we head off tomorrow back to LA, and then we will start filming on Skid Row in 2 weeks for the third part of this journey, to see how my lessons in India and Beirut will inform the way that I can work in my city and the difference we can make in our own cities. And that's the message of this, is that we can't all do everything, but we can do our part. And I'm looking forward to seeing what can come of a new experience back in my home city, my new home city, and how I will see it when I return. It's going to be, interesting. Okay. Thanks for watching if you did, and thanks for joining us on this journey. We might do one more Facebook Live or something on the way back, I'm not sure, but we'll see you again when we get to Skid Row. This has been a journey of a lifetime, but I hope it's not the only journey of a lifetime. I hope this is one of many, many more to come. I've already booked in to go back to India, so many more journeys to come. But yes, man, exactly, let's all do our own part. Let's not stare at the massive wall ahead of us and not know what to do about it and talk about how big it is. Just find your brick. Just find your brick and do your part. Work on that part. Okay. I'm going to go and rest now because my body is very tired.